After 60, not all bread is your friend. In fact, there are 4 dangerous types you should never touch and 4 powerful ones you should eat every day. For years, we were told bread was safe that morning, toast that lunchtime sandwich, just part of life. But here's the truth. Many common loaves are secretly wrecking your heart, spiking blood sugar, and speeding up muscle loss. Right now, across grocery store shelves, lurks a silent killer hiding under the label of healthy. A groundbreaking 2024 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition revealed that seniors who ate a certain bread daily faced a 38% higher risk of cognitive decline. Even worse, 99% of older adults have no idea that the so-called wholesome bread they trust actually raises their stroke risk by 27%. And topping the danger list is a bread found in nearly every senior's kitchen. Within just weeks, it can damage your gut lining by more than 50%. In this video, we'll reveal the shocking truth with proven studies, solid science, and real-life senior stories. But before we dive in, share your thoughts in the comments below. What's your biggest health worry right now? Have you noticed bread affecting you differently lately? Tell us in the comments. We're reading and personally replying to every single one with tailored tips and advice. And now, let's jump straight into the 4 breads you should never eat after 60. Number 4 on the list, pumpernickel bread. At first glance, it looks hearty and nutritious, but don't be fooled. Most commercial versions are imposters. That deep brown shade you assume is healthy often comes from caramel coloring and molasses, not from the slow traditional baking that actually delivers real nutrition. The real danger isn't the bread itself, it's how modern versions are made. Authentic German pumpernickel takes 16 to 24 hours of slow baking at low heat, a process that breaks down phytic acid and unlocks nutrients. But today's commercial loaves are rushed through in just 2 hours and pumped full of chemicals. For people over 60, these shortcuts are a digestive nightmare. As your system naturally slows with age, it can't handle the load. A 2023 study in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that 78% of store-bought pumpernickel contains high fructose corn syrup, an additive that sparks advanced glycation and products toxic compounds for seniors. These AGEs speed up cellular aging by 34% compared to natural sugars. Even worse, Stanford's Dr. Marcus Chen found that seniors eating commercial pumpernickel just 3 times a week had inflammatory markers 2.5 times higher than the control group. If this is in your kitchen, it's time to switch. Either buy authentic German rye or bake your own. The only real pumpernickel lists rye, flour, water, salt, and sourdough starter, nothing more. True loaves feel heavy, like a brick, and never contain added sugar. When shopping, steer clear of any pumpernickel that's light or springy. Those are dead giveaways of industrial shortcuts. Safer swaps. Try sprouted grain bread or authentic sourdough rye for the same hearty taste without the inflammation. Number 3 on the danger list, multigrain bread. It sounds healthy. After all, more grains must be better than one right. Wrong. This is one of the biggest tricks in the bread aisle. The term multigrain isn't regulated, so companies use refined white flour as the base and toss in trace amounts of other grains just to slap on the label. It's clever marketing, but it's ruining senior health. A 2024 Johns Hopkins study found that 92% of multigrain breads contain under 5% whole grains by weight. Researchers tracked 1,200 adults over 65 for 3 years and discovered that those who ate multigrain daily had 41% more blood sugar spikes than those who stuck with simple whole wheat. Dr. Patricia Williams, who led the study, warned that these blood sugar roller coasters are especially dangerous for seniors since insulin sensitivity naturally declines with age. The mix of grains creates what nutritionists call a glycemic bomb. Different grains digest at different speeds, causing multiple insulin spikes instead of one manageable rise. For anyone over 60, multigrain bread is more than a bad choice, it's a metabolic nightmare. Your pancreas is already struggling to keep up, and adding this bread only makes things worse. A Harvard aging study showed seniors eating multigrain had cortisol levels 38% higher all day long, a stress hormone that eats away at muscle and weakens bones. Processing methods only intensify the damage. To bind all those grains together, manufacturers rely on dough, conditioners, and emulsifiers, chemicals that didn't even exist when today's seniors were young. One of the worst offenders, azotocarbonamide, is banned in Europe, yet still used in US bread. These additives block nutrient absorption in aging digestive systems. After 6 decades of loyal service, your gut simply wasn't designed to process such lab-made creations. Instead of falling for multi-grain marketing, switch to single-grain whole breads. Look for clear labels like 100% whole wheat or 100% whole rye. Craving variety, rotate different whole grain loaves week by week rather than mixing them in one multi-grain gimmick. And always check the label. The very first word should be whole, followed by the grain's name. Anything labeled otherwise is just refined flour in disguise. Number 2 on the danger list, white sandwich bread. It may sound obvious, but after 60, its damage runs far deeper than most realize. White bread isn't just empty calories, it actively strips nutrients from your body while speeding up nearly every aspect of aging. The refining process removes about 78% of the bread's natural vitamins and minerals, leaving behind what scientists call anti-nutrition. A groundbreaking 2024 Cleveland Clinic study tracked 3,000 seniors for 5 years and found that those who ate white bread daily aged biologically 2.3 years faster than those who avoided it. Researchers measured telomere length, the protective caps of our DNA, and the clearest marker of aging. They discovered that white bread shortened telomeres 19% more than natural aging would. Dr. Jennifer Martinez, lead author of the study, didn't mince words. She called white bread an aging accelerator in disguise. Here's the scary part. White bread's glycemic index is 95 higher than pure sugar at 65. That means massive insulin spikes. For seniors already losing insulin sensitivity, this sets off a dangerous chain reaction. First, the spike triggers widespread inflammation. Then comes the crash, leaving you drained, fatigued, and craving even more carbs. This vicious cycle, spike and crash, meal after meal, year after year, slowly drains your pancreas. For 67% of adults over 65 who eat white bread regularly, it ends in type 2 diabetes. But that's not all. White bread also hides a chemical called brin, used to make flour whiter and bread fluffier. Brin competes with iodine in your thyroid, the master gland that regulates your entire metabolism. The American Thyroid Association reported that seniors eating white bread had thyroid hormone levels 23% lower than those who didn't. That explains the fatigue, stubborn weight gain, and brain fog that so many mistake for just getting older. Quitting white bread takes a planned start by blending 75% white with 25% whole grain for a week. Next, shift to 50/50, then 25% white and 75% whole grain until you're fully switched. Remember, your taste buds have been hijacked by decades of processed food, so give them time to adapt. A simple trick: keep cucumber or tomato slices ready to add moisture and flavor to whole grain sandwiches. And above all, never shop hungry. White bread's convenience is most tempting then. Number 1 on our list, rye bread. This may surprise you, but commercial rye bread ranks number 1 on the list of breads to avoid after 60. Traditional rye can be beneficial, but that's not what fills store shelves today. Most so-called rye bread is just white bread, dressed up with a sprinkle of rye flour and caramel coloring to fake that healthy brown look. In 2024, the University of Michigan's Age-Related Disease Prevention Center released alarming findings. Their study of 5,000 adults over 60 showed that those eating commercial rye had 156% higher levels of AGEs in their blood than those who avoided it. Dr. Robert Klin explained that refined wheat corn syrup and artificial flavorings in fake rye form a perfect storm for accelerated aging. Here's the darker truth. Real rye contains unique compounds called alkylorphanols that guard against cancer and heart disease. Commercial rye, however, has less than 8% actual rye flour, far too little to provide benefits, just enough to claim the name. And whatever tiny nutrition is left gets destroyed by modern manufacturing. Commercial rye is stripped of digestive benefits. Instead of traditional sourdough fermentation, it uses rapid rise yeast, erasing the good bacteria your gut needs to thrive. To hold its shape, manufacturers pack it with dough conditioners like calcium propionate and sodium stearoyl lactylate. These keep bread soft for weeks, but silently destroy your gut microbiome, which becomes increasingly vital as you age. Studies reveal the damage just 2 slices a day for 6 weeks cut beneficial gut bacteria by 43%. For seniors whose microbiome diversity is already declining, this is devastating. On top of that, fake rise gluten is concentrated, not broken down, like in slow fermented loaves, creating an even bigger digestive burden. After 60, your enzyme production drops by about 30%, leaving you unable to properly process these dense proteins. The consequences, bloating, inflammation, poor nutrient absorption, are often blamed on aging, when in fact the bread is at fault. The fix is simple: cut out commercial rye immediately and choose authentic European loaves made with whole rye flour and real sourdough fermentation. Real rye has a dense texture, a slightly sour taste, and at least 51% rye flour. If you want a safer choice, try the healthy breads we're about to reveal, packed with nutrition without the hidden risks. Now that we've uncovered breads quietly damaging your joints, digestion, and even memory, it's time to flip the script. Some breads actually do the opposite, bringing real benefits, and most seniors have never even heard of them. Number 4. Sprouted grain bread. This ancient style brings us back to how our ancestors prepared grains before industrial processing stripped away their value. When grains sprout, something extraordinary happens. Simple carbs are transformed into living, nutrient-rich food at the cellular level. This sprouting process, which takes several days of careful monitoring, unlocks vitamins and minerals hidden in regular flour. The science is convincing. In 2024, the National Institute on Aging tracked 2500 seniors who added sprouted grain bread to their diet. After just 6 months, participants boosted vitamin B12 absorption by 34%, a vital result since 40% of people over 60 are deficient. The benefits don't stop there. Folate levels rose by 28%, and iron absorption improved by 31%. Dr. Sarah Thompson, who led the study, explained that sprouted grains work like a master key, unlocking nutrients that aging bodies struggle to access. The sprouting process also removes antinutrients like phytic acid and enzyme inhibitors that block mineral absorption. For seniors with declining stomach acid, sprouted grains are game-changing. Your body doesn't have to struggle to extract nutrition, freeing up energy for healing and maintenance. Research from the Digestive Health Foundation found that people over 60 who ate sprouted grain bread had 67% less bloating and 52% better regularity compared to those eating conventional bread. Sprouted grains are also a powerhouse of complete protein containing all 9 essential amino acids. This is especially critical after 60, when muscle mass naturally shrinks by 3 to 8% per decade. To get the most benefit, eat sprouted grain bread within 5 days of purchase or freeze it right away. It spoils quickly without preservatives, but that's actually a mark of quality. For maximum benefit, toast sprouted grain bread lightly to boost flavor and aid digestion. Top it with almond butter for extra protein or avocado for heart-healthy fats. The best time to enjoy it is in the morning or early afternoon when digestion is strongest. Always choose brands that list sprouted as the first ingredient with no added sugars or oils. Number 3. Sourdough bread. Real sourdough is made simply with flour, water, salt, and wild yeast. Its 12-24-hour fermentation produces beneficial bacteria and natural acids that turn plain flour into a probiotic powerhouse. Don't be fooled by the fake versions in stores. Those are just flavored with vinegar, not the slow fermentation that has nourished humans for millennia. In 2024, Stanford's Microbiome Research Center released groundbreaking data. Seniors who ate authentic sourdough daily for 3 months increased gut bacteria diversity by 47%. Normally, between ages 60 and 80, diversity drops by 25%, so this result is striking. Participants also showed 38% lower inflammation and scored 29% higher on cognitive tests. Dr. Michael Peters, lead researcher, called sourdough the single most effective food-based intervention for aging guts ever studied. Its long fermentation breaks gluten into smaller, more digestible fragments. Many people over 60 who believed they were gluten-sensitive discover they can eat real sourdough without issues. Lactic acid bacteria in sourdough pre-digest the starches, cutting its glycemic index from 95 inches white bread to just 54. But finding authentic sourdough takes some effort. Ask the bakery if their fermentation lasts at least 12 hours. True sourdough contains only flour, water, salt, and starter culture, never commercial yeast, sugar, or oils. Real sourdough has a tangy, not vinegary flavor, and its crumb shows irregular holes of different sizes. When pressed, it springs back slowly, unlike commercial bread that bounces instantly. Store it at room temperature in a bread box or wrapped in a kitchen towel. Never use plastic, which traps moisture and speeds up molding. Slice only what you'll eat to keep the rest from drying out. If your loaf goes stale, don't toss it, turn it into bread pudding, or revive it by sprinkling with water and reheating in the oven. For even better results, pair sourdough with healthy fats like olive oil or grass-fed butter to slow glucose absorption. Lactic acid bacteria in sourdough pre-digest the starches, cutting its glycemic index from 95 inches white bread to just 54. But finding authentic sourdough takes some effort. Ask the bakery if their fermentation lasts at least 12 hours. True sourdough contains only flour, water, salt, and starter culture, never commercial yeast, sugar, or oils. Real sourdough has a tangy, not vinegary flavor, and its crumb shows irregular holes of different sizes. When pressed, it springs back slowly, unlike commercial bread that bounces instantly. Store it at room temperature in a bread box or wrapped in a kitchen towel. Never use plastic, which traps moisture and speeds up molding. Slice only what you'll eat to keep the rest from drying out. If your loaf goes stale, don't toss it, turn it into bread pudding, or revive it by sprinkling with water and reheating in the oven. For even better results, pair sourdough with healthy fats like olive oil or grass-fed butter to slow glucose absorption. A study from the Jerusalem Diabetes Research Institute showed that type 2 diabetics over 60 who switched to Ezekiel bread cut their medication use by an average of 41% within just 6 months. Its texture takes getting used to denser and nuttier than regular bread, with a hint of sweetness from the sprouted grains. For best results, toast Ezekiel bread thoroughly to boost flavor and digestibility. Pair it with nut butters to round out its protein profile, or with fresh vegetables to add enzymes. Many seniors find it easier to begin with the cinnamon raisin version before transitioning to the plain loaf, and since it contains no preservatives, it must be stored frozen until ready to eat. To store it properly, separate slices with parchment paper before freezing so you can pull out only what you need. Always thaw using a toaster or toaster oven, never a microwave, which destroys beneficial enzymes. Eat within 3 days of thawing. The effort is worth it, as regular consumers often report more energy, smoother digestion, and sharper mental clarity within just weeks. Number 1. 100% whole grain bread. This is hands down the most beneficial bread for anyone over 60. Don't be fooled by imposters labeled wheat bread or made with whole grains. True whole grain keeps every part of the grain intact: the bran for fiber, the germ for vitamins and healthy fats, and the endosperm for steady energy, all working together exactly as nature designed. In 2024, Harvard Medical School published a landmark study that followed 100,000 adults over 65 for a full decade. The results shocked the medical world. Those who ate 100% whole grain bread daily lived an average of 3.7 years longer than those who ate white bread. They also had 52% fewer heart attacks, 48% lower stroke risk, and 61% less chance of developing type 2 diabetes. Dr. William Chang, the lead investigator, declared, "If whole grain bread were a drug, it would be hailed as a miracle medication." The benefits work through multiple pathways. Whole grains contain lignans, natural phytoestrogens that protect against hormone-related cancers. In fact, postmenopausal women who ate whole grain bread had a 43% lower risk of breast cancer. The intact fiber in whole grains feeds your gut's good bacteria, producing short-chain fatty acids that calm inflammation across the body. Even better, these fatty acids cross the blood-brain barrier, sharpening cognition and cutting Alzheimer's risk by 35%. Whole grains beta-glucan fiber works like a sponge, sweeping excess cholesterol right out of your system. The American Heart Association reports that seniors eating just 2 slices of true whole grain bread daily lowered LDL cholesterol by an average of 26 milligrams divided by DL without medication. But to reap these benefits, you need to read labels carefully. Authentic bread must list whole wheat flour or another whole grain first, not refined wheat flour. To spot the real deal, check that each slice contains at least 3 grams of fiber. Genuine whole grain bread feels heavier than refined loaves with a natural brown color, not white bread dyed to look healthy. Always avoid loaves with high fructose corn syrup, which cancels the health perks. And remember, preparation plays a big role in maximizing benefits. Lightly toasting whole grain bread lowers its glycemic index by 15% thanks to a process called retrogradation. Pair it with protein-rich foods like eggs or Greek yogurt to further slow glucose absorption. And since real whole grain bread has no preservatives, store it in a cool, dry place, never the fridge, which makes it stale faster. If you're new to whole grain, start by adding a thin layer of raw honey or pure maple syrup, then cut back as your taste buds adjust. Within 3 weeks, most people come to love its nutty, complex flavor and find that white bread tastes like bland cardboard. Ultimately, the bread you choose after 60 will shape how you age. The choice may seem obvious, yet millions still grab the wrong loaf. Don't let marketing trick you. Your health, energy, and even longevity depend on switching to breads that heal instead of harm. Now we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever swapped white or wheat bread for a healthier option? Did you notice changes in energy or digestion? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments. We read them all. Thanks for watching.